Good?
Mm-hmm.
You're great.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, well, we'll get rolling into this.
27.
What? This is
District
Oh,
27.
I thought you were talking about the episode. I said this is episode 72. I thought you just had a little dyslexia there for a second.
Is it 72 or 73?
It is
I thought 72 was
70.
last night.
Oh,
Oh.
Ooh.
I think it's 73. You're right.
I think it is
You're right.
73.
It is 73. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Carry Podcast, episode 73 today. And we're excited because we have a guest with us, Senate candidate for District 27.
27.
We have
27.
Danielle Lammon on the show with us today. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today.
Yes, thank you for making the trip and joining us. We're excited to have a conversation with you this morning. How are you doing this morning, Micah?
I feel frosty. I feel like maybe I was just here at like midnight. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it seems like we were here not too long ago, but hey, that's okay. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the Daily Scroll today. Speaking of midnight, I saved some stuff, and mostly pertaining to the State of the Union. I think that's probably kind of the top of everybody's mind right now. The first article I saved right here was a statement from Trump at this State of the Union. Said, surely we can all agree no state can be allowed to rip children from their parents and transition them to a new gender against their parents' will. And Democrats stayed seated. Can you imagine that? This was, actually, we talked about this a little bit. This was what I was talking about last night whenever we were in the middle of that episode, where
we must ban it, and we must ban it immediately.
look at that. Banning underage child sex change surgeries. That's what he was talking about.
It's kind of gut wrenching actually to watch.
These people.
And then he says, these people are crazy.
They're crazy.
These people are crazy.
Ma'am.
I actually just had a conversation with my daughter, who's 29, last night about this.
Mm.
She's currently out of the country, and we were just talking about a little bit of politics. And I brought this up because we were talking about where Colorado is going right now. And this was one of the things I was talking about is protecting our children. Yeah. And it's federally, and it's huge in Colorado right now.
Yes.
A lot of bills are coming through that are actually getting killed, where it's talking about protecting our kids, and you just kind of shake your head, just like you're doing, like,
Oh, yeah.
how are we not protecting our children from harm, or as parents being able to have that say in our kids' lives without, I guess, having punishment come back to us, if you will.
I'm astonished on so many. I'm not aghast anymore. I used to be. I'm just astonished at the level of disconnect. I mean, we were talking last night on the podcast. I said I think we have a huge mental health issue,
Absolutely.
and that is mental health. Right? I mean, just sitting there on the floor. To me, I look at that. And Jared and I were talking about how do you love well. You know, we bring our faith in. You know, walk in call out the evil, but love the person. That's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch these kids as well that are going through these changes, these influences. And on one hand, I feel really blessed that my children are adults right now and they've not gotten in the middle of any of this. But I have 2 adopted grandsons. So one just turned 17 last week. And it's just kind of keeping that communication open. And I know my daughter's a teacher, and so she's always talking to her boys about social media, what they're doing. She monitors. She also takes their phones away at night and controllers to their Xboxes, because it's just, to me, responsible parenting.
Sure. Good on her. Well, there's an old adage, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. If you look around the floor there, they'll look at each other's friends. And that's the future of America.
It is. And the disrespect, I know it's not in that particular clip, but there was another clip where, was it the Minnesota representative was yelling out during his speech, and it's just.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we just.
Oh, is that your next one?
I did save one where we had these representatives screaming.
Yep, this is exactly it. During when I was at an event, so I was listening in the car, and I was like, "What is this screaming going on?" Because I couldn't see it visually, and then I got home, and my husband and I were talking about it,
Yeah.
and it's just this sense of just disrespect for any kind of leadership is what I'm seeing coming out of our Democrats, and even sort of our I guess leaning more towards that socialist piece. I see it pretty involved in City of Aurora, and we see this at City of Aurora Council meetings, and it's just it's that sense of you have to respect me, but I don't have to respect you. And I think that's really what a problem is coming out right now with
Agreed.
this generation
Yep.
of. It just astonishes me, and it sort of just takes. I have no words almost because I wasn't brought up like that.
Right.
I was brought up in going to church and respecting your elders, your parents, your neighbors' parents, because they could also call you out or, punish you in a way. You know what I
Sure.
mean? We just don't have that anymore. We don't have discipline in our households, and we don't have sense of family that I think goes along with this sense of this disrespect.
Amen.
And
Yeah, I mean, this was crazy as well. So this article here is from Nick's Order. Breaking: U.S. Capitol Police arrested. I don't know how to say it, Ilhan Omar.
It was the person she brought.
Yeah, her guest, and apparently this same guest was arrested in Minneapolis before for using her car to block ICE agents on a street.
Yeah.
And this was the person that was invited as a guest to be there at State of the Union, and she was here arrested again.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. I saw another article. I didn't save this one, but I saw another article showing that, or saying that majority of the Democrats' guests were illegal immigrants. I highly doubt that that's completely true, but I think that they were probably just taking this and taking a spin off of this.
It's plausible, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just sad. I mean, it's sad either way. It's just sad that it's even a punchline to a bad joke at this point.
yes.
It's just pathetic where we're at in this country.
Continue with that. Let me fix some of the cameras. We're having some issues. We're not fully operational at the moment. So
We'll jam on this for a second, ma'am, because you said your daughter, mine is overseas. Are you allowed to say where, or can you speak into anything, or does it have to stay pretty discreet?
She's actually not in the military. She is a travel agent.
Oh, travel agent.
And
I
so-
misunderstood. I thought you said military a second ago.
My son's in the military.
son.
My
My
son is
apologies.
in the
Okay.
military. My husband is retired military. My father-in-law's retired military.
Excellent.
But no, my daughter actually has a travel company, and so she has been traveling full-time for 6 years now.
Okay. That is awesome. That sounds fun.
It is. So she's in her 42nd, 43rd country.
Wow. What a life.
It is what a life.
That is really great.
She
That
is.
that would have been my wife's dream if she had it had not married me.
Mm.
Yeah. I was her first dream, is what she said, and then she smacks me in the back of the head. But after 31 years, we joke about it. But my wife loves to travel. My daughter loves to travel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is in part. My daughter went to the Naval Academy, graduated, and she's over somewhere in the South China Sea right now,
Got it.
doing something that I'm
Gotcha.
not supposed to know about.
I understand. My son's in the Navy also,
Yeah.
and he was assigned. He's a nuclear engineer, and he was assigned to a sub.
Ah, very
So
good.
he's had several deployments where we just don't know and
Sure.
never will.
Yeah, my daughter went into fly 35s, and then they killed a little bit of the flight program to go to drone, but she also had a nuclear engineering background, so she's on a carrier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's driving.
That's really
yeah,
awesome.
she's having fun.
Yeah, my son says he's probably going to be like, I can't believe you said that, Mom. What is he described it very simply for me as water plus hot rock makes it go or something like that. I always like hear stuff about the nuclear reactors, which I do believe we need more power plants
Yeah.
and to help our energy. And I'm like, okay, can we do this? What would it take to recreate this? And he's like, Mom, there's a lot that goes into this. I'm like, all right, well, dream with me. Let's talk business. Let's talk about these opportunities.
It's called a math formula. That's what my daughter says. It's called a math formula, Dad, and you're not going to understand it. That's fair enough.
I don't know, man.
I love you,
That
honey.
last episode, you were sort of digging on some of those math formulas coming out.
I can
and
do
I said, wait a second, you're losing me here.
I can do certain percentages
had-
in my head.
So we had Barb Kirkmeyer on,
Oh, yeah.
and she was here, and she was talking about some of the ways that they kind of do balancing of the budget, and she was starting to go a little bit into the math there. And I was like, wait a second, I'm pretty sure you're losing a majority of the audience here. Let's just bring it to surface level.
She said one important thing. She said the budget has to be balanced at least one day out of the year for the budget to pass.
Yeah, scary.
I was like, well, I've been around politics a long time. I'd never heard that before. So,
Very, very scary.
yeah, it's terrifying.
So, Danielle, you're running for District 27,
Yes.
senator in the state of Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been involved in political office before?
Not in a political office. I have been involved with the City of Aurora on our Citizens Advisory Budget Commission, and I was appointed by a council member 7 years ago.
Okay.
And so for the last 7 years, I've served, I'm in my third kind of rotation as a vice chair, and I served 2 years as the chair of the committee. And so that really kind of got me some insight. I've worked on some campaigns for a local level, and I was a finalist for city council. They had an empty seat, and I did not win, which I always say that there are, blessings in disguise. One door closes, another one opens. And so not getting that elected position or appointed position, it really started making me think on a bigger scale. And that's sort of what led to this Senate campaign, because I started thinking about things that I'm concerned about, and it's outside of our city. It really is state level.
Yeah. You're running against. You go first.
No, who are you running against? Do you have an opponent?
I do have an opponent. He's the incumbent, Mr. Senator Tom Sullivan, and he has been in office for 4 years, and he'll be running against me this year as well.
He's kind of a big anti-2A guy, right?
Very anti-2A, which is surprising for as much as he's anti-guns, he's not voting to protect our children. Literally the other day, he voted no on a bill that came through from Senator Baisley about protecting kids, and it would be basically creating a registry for schools that if a predator, a teacher, was fired for hurting a child, they would go on a registry so they couldn't just go to another school district, and that got killed the other day, which is pretty sad.
Why would you kill that bill if you're Tom Sullivan?
I don't know. It's surprising me that, or I guess it doesn't, because look at the way our Democrats are all killing these bills that are protecting our children. But it does surprise me because we all know what happened to his son, and huge compassion for him on that. I no one should ever lose a child. It's something that sticks with you for a long time, forever. But I would think you would look at the other aspect of it, because our firearms, it's a tool, just like a knife, just like a bat, just like whatever you might have by your front door. For a while, we've had a golf club. My daughter came back home. There's a golf club, but
4-iron or a pitching wedge?
it's a 4-iron.
Okay. All right.
But we're not talking about the bigger issues, which is the mental health.
Yeah.
It is about harsher punishment for criminals. These are those things that I'm like, why are you voting no on these bills that are going to actually help everybody, and not take away the rights of people who are law-abiding citizens, who go after and get the correct training for their firearms, have the proper protection at home, their safes, teaching their children about the safety of having a firearm.
Yeah. I had a friend tragically lost their child in a car crash, and we were talking about 2A stuff recently, and he said, I don't understand. He goes, nobody wants to lose a child. I grieve every day. I weep every day. And this has been 12, 13 years now. So to your point, it never goes away. He says, but I don't stop going to work. I don't stop going to the grocery store. I need my vehicle, so I don't go for banning cars, because my daughter unfortunately made a bad choice. She made a bad decision, took a wrong turn in front of somebody. But you have to look at the facts of the case. And that's I think the thing that disturbs me when I see stuff like we were just watching up here. There's so much hate for the president, and without, I'm not going to rabbit trail that, but you don't have the common decency to stand for the mom who lost her daughter. That's not a partisan issue.
Right.
That's a bipartisan effect of a system that is so completely corrupted and jacked up that you've got a 14-time felon out in the street and he murders somebody, and now all of a sudden we bring somebody in to say, hey, we were sorry for your loss, we respect you, and everybody sat in their collective butts. We have a huge mental health problem, and it's sitting right there in D.C. in the 535.
Absolutely. I also lost a cousin when he had just turned 17, and he passed in a car accident. And my uncle to this day still, and it's been, we're close to, I gotta think how old I am. We're close to, I think, like 35, almost 40 years, and it's that trauma still sticks with you.
Of course it does.
And I've had friends that have had babies die from cancer, and again, but you still have to live. You still have to move on. And if you're trying to create a solution to make it better, not restrict people of their rights.
Yeah. And not only restricting people of their rights, but you're also making it dangerous for other people by just making a all-inclusive something to get done, because there's ramifications and tentacles and things that come off of these type of decisions. So if we have a bunch of kids in school and your thing is I'm anti-gun, don't want guns in school, I get it. I don't want guns in school either, but I want properly trained people with guns in school.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big difference between.
Huge difference.
So, yeah.
Huge difference.
Whenever we were talking about the president being the person who's hated by these people staying in their seats, I think it's pretty much beyond that, because if we were to, because you asked the question in the last episode that, do you think these people are sitting down because they hate President Trump, because they hate the country? And Barb kind of said probably a little bit of both. Well, I think if we look at the Democrats in Colorado voting no for these bills that really should be bipartisan to just keep the kids safe, clearly that has nothing to do with Donald Trump. That's just, they hate Republicans. They hate conservative values. They hate moral decency. That's what's the pattern that's emerging clearly. I mean, what else? Why else would you vote no on some of these things? We had Scott Bottoms in not too long ago, and he's proposed a lot of bills, and they've all voted no on pretty much every single bill from what he said. He proposed the bill to, what was that one that he just now proposed that was the counter to a big bill that was on the opposing side? There was another one to do with kids and
it had to
trans
do with
surgeries. And
he said he wrote it knowing that the ink wouldn't dry on the paper and it wouldn't pass, but the reason he did it is because he wanted to do the collective names that voted no against it. So he knew full well that it wouldn't pass, but he wanted to be able to list everybody that said, I don't want this to pass. And it was a very common sense thing.
Right.
So, yeah. He says there's a lot of that happens up on the Hill. A lot of bills go forth that don't go anywhere, but they do it simply because they want to be able to showcase what the other side is doing. It's kind of like a reverse psychology tactic, which I guess in some level makes sense, because then you're putting your opponent on record for saying this doesn't matter.
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, point being, I think it's just a problem that's so far beyond just Donald Trump. I truly think that it's just a full-on war on conservative values, moral decency, and I think that they're truly trying to, in blue states like Colorado, I think that they're trying to pass legislation at this point very frantically to try to make living in Colorado almost impossible for people who have conservative values and people who have a moral compass. They're, instead of, maybe they're starting to realize, I mean, I know that there was that proposal that they were trying to put out of redistricting Colorado. I think that there's some clear signs that they're a little nervous that they could lose the state this year. And I think that we're kind of seeing some lashing out, some final swipes, so to speak, at just trying to do anything that they can to hold on to power. And even if that means making the state just absolutely horrible to try to push out as many conservative-minded people as possible, I think that that's kind of the war that they're waging. The game that they're playing is try to just get a chokehold on Colorado to where the people that are here, they're always going to have the vote. And I think that that's kind of the underlying tactic. I mean, going after kids, how bad it is in Colorado is just disgusting. Yeah. The policies that are already in effect, and then the policies that they continue to refuse to push through, and then the ones that they put on the table. I mean, right now they have the bill proposed to legalize prostitution.
Right.
Yeah.
which is basically just legalizing sex trafficking and human
Right.
trafficking and the byproduct of it. It's you started to allude to it, and I think I cut you off, so I apologize. Can you expand a little bit on the thought process of why do you see? So Tom tragically loses a child. My heart breaks for him. I mean, there's nothing but empathy in that. But how do we have a collective solution that works better? Like you're running for office. So obviously, that's going to be a key issue you're standing on, if not the only issue, maybe. What do you say to that?
I think we need to look at it from, I like your moral point, because you're right. We're losing that sense. We're losing our sense of family and what that means, but looking at it holistically of, what is the problem? The problem is the mental health. The problem is we don't have harsher punishment for criminals. Our criminals are committing a crime. There's no consequences.
Right.
So like why is that stopping them to do that? And if there's no, and I guess I kind of think about like when we were kids, you knew if you got in trouble, there was a little fear. You were going to get punished, whatever way your parents did that. And so it prevented you from doing whatever it was you were going to do. And I think that we need to look at all of the different aspects. We need to look at our mental health and what is really in place to help people. We need to look at our the punishments we have for criminals and hold our districts, attorney generals, our judges, everybody. We need to hold them accountable.
Amen.
For the decisions that they're making, and to look at it. There's a lot of popular cases, and we see them all the time, where somebody hurt somebody in a car accident. For instance, we've been talking about car accidents, and it's like they're just walking away from killing somebody, and then you see something simple that is more, maybe somebody a little bit more conservative, and then all of a sudden you're like, why are they getting that punishment
Right.
for this? And and you're like, it just doesn't make sense.
Well,
There's a lot of
the
things.
blindfold of justice came
Yeah.
off a long time ago.
Right.
The scales have tipped. We had Darren Weekly, sheriff here in Douglas County, on. I've known Darren for 26 years now. Darren and I will go to lunch periodically and hang out. You know what Darren doesn't want to talk about?
Probably law enforcement.
Law enforcement.
Right.
Yeah. He sits down. He's like, "Can we just talk football?" Or I'm like, "Yeah, buddy, whatever you need to do." And we just laugh and take 30 minutes out of a day to jab each other. And I poke at him for the Avs, and he pokes at me for the Red Wings. And I always win the battle because we have way more cups. But you know what breaks my heart is I see the conviction in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He loves what he does. He sat right here. He told Jared, Jared's like, "So when did you start?" And Darren says something about 21 Jump Street. And Jared's like, I know what 21 Jump Street is.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing. Like, it's a TV show. No, the sheriff really did an undercover program. He still looks like he's 12. But the point to all this is he is equally as frustrated. And we have a good DA here. George Rockler's a good DA. I mean, he's not afraid to go after people, but you've got other problems that are byproducts of that.
Yeah.
And they're called judges. And so you can have I don't know how many cases I took that were rock solid, 100% conviction, no brainers, softballs, easies, slap on the wrist on felonious counts, sometimes multiple felonious counts. I had one case that had 3 felonies that had 3 5-year suspensions, 60 days in jail, 3 burglaries, and one of them was violent. 60 days in jail.
Right.
I can tell you, I stopped trusting the system, and that was in 98. And it's only gotten worse since then.
It has. I'm in Arapahoe County, and so we had John Kellner, and things were improving. And he's not in office anymore,
Yeah.
and we're just like you're talking about, we're just seeing a decline. And then it comes down to our judges, I think, as well. And I'll say, like, election-wise, not to go on a tangent on it, but I think we need to have a better rating system for our judges, because I know, like, when we come, my husband and I sit down and we look at everybody that's up for vote. We look at every person running. We read into our Colorado Constitution, whatever the case may be, when we're trying to make a decision when we're voting, and looking at the judges. And that is always the hardest part,
It is.
and takes the longest portion of us going through our ballot because there isn't a really good way to see how our judges are, are they voting? Are they really protecting us? Are they just being told what to do by this side or that side? And so anyway, sorry, on a tangent on that, but
No, it's an important tangent because they have an incredible amount of power.
mm-hmm.
People don't realize, and we've said this recently here, and I'm going to keep repeating this so people from the law enforcement perspective, and I've been on the other side of it as well, judges can determine what comes into a case. So they can look at a prosecution and say, you can't bring that in as evidentiary value. You can do the same thing on the defense. So it totally tilts the case. And, 30-second story, I go to municipal court in Castle Rock 15 years ago for a barking dog, and they did traffic complaints before mine. I watched 27 people at the judge's order. Hey, if you plead this to a defective vehicle, I won't punish you. 27 people walked with a defective vehicle. After all those man hours went into running school zones and all of it, right? All the law enforcement. I go in on a barking dog, and the first thing he says to me goes, hey, just so you know, I used to have a neighbor with a barking dog, and it annoyed me to death. So I'm already considering the highest side of the fine. This is his opening statement to me.
Right.
And I'm like, you just let 27 people go for an imaginary thing on a vehicle, and you're going to come in here. And so people don't realize that that kind of stuff happens from the bench all the time.
Right.
They play politics. So as a senator coming in when you win this race, do you see addressing that? Is that something that you can voice into? It's not necessarily something you can change overnight. I get that. But is it something that you speak into and say, I think there's something important here that we need to look at?
I would, because I do think it's important to look at. I think it's important for the punishment, the criminals, cutting down on our crime, but also just so citizens who are voting have an option to really look at what they're voting for.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Tom Sullivan, very much anti-2A. He it was just a couple weeks ago. He's always pushing new 2A ban bills.
Mm-hmm.
And he's on the news prominently for pushing 2A ban bills. So I would imagine that you are quite pro 2A running against Tom Sullivan, right?
I am pro 2A, yes. I do have my concealed carry and
you brought some
firearms.
gear in to show us, right? You
I
brought
did.
us. Well, we'd love to jump into that and let you tell us what you have come to prefer to carry.
Okay.
If you're willing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me move this a little bit.
We love show and tell.
We love show and
That
tell.
was my favorite part of school.
Yep.
Show and tell. Well, I was going to say, being a petite woman, it's pretty simple. But let's see. My husband just gave me this bag for Christmas. This was my one and only gift I asked for was a concealed
I
carry.
want a concealed carry bag.
Yeah, but it's like a little fanny pack when I hike. So this is my Smith & Wesson 380
All right.
Easy Shield.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's okay, can I tell the story how I came to
Please.
find
If
this
you don't, I
firearm?
would be disappointed.
Also, can you kind of hold it up
Oh,
so that the camera
yes.
can see?
So there we go. You
Yeah.
can see. So my my husband and my son took me to Centennial Gun Club,
Okay.
and we went and I tried a bunch of different guns. So we went out to the range, and I knew I wanted a 380. I knew I wanted something small, being small, having little hands. And my son more took me just so it was kind of something him and I did. But we spent an hour. We borrowed at Centennial. You can do that. We borrowed different guns to look at, and I got to shoot them and really see how did they feel in my hand? How did they feel when I shot it? Could I shoot it? Did I have a recoil? And so that's sort of where I started to lean towards this, the Easy Shield. And then I did some research. I read some articles, and really the one that sold me kind of on this one before I purchased it was there was an article from NRA Women, and it was actually about this particular gun that it was an expert shooter, an intermediate, and a beginner. And they all women evaluated it, and I looked at that, and I was like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. There is an extra safety right here on the back that you really have to hold. So I love that aspect of it. I like the size of it in my hand, and it doesn't really have any kickback at all, which I enjoy.
I do a lot of tactical instruction. I'm going to take everything you just said. I'm going to download it onto a reel, and I'm going to play it for every class that I ever do. Because everything you just said is exactly what we're always telling people. First of all, you got to find something that works for you. It's got to feel right in your hand. You got to feel comfortable. You got to be able to function with it. All of that has to come together. So thank you for sharing that, because what I get often is I get the husband that will come in with the wife, and it's one of two things. It's either the husband and wife coming in together saying, hey, we don't know, we just wanted to do this together, or it's the husband walking 3 steps ahead of the wife saying, here's the gun you need. And then you hand it to her and you go out on the range and she has a horrific day with it and she hates it and it feels awful. And she's like, I never want to touch a gun for the rest of my life. But in her head, she's like, no, I really actually want to do this. I want to be protected. So it does have to feel right. And it's absolute. That's why there's so many guns. There's so many manufacturers and so many, yada, yada, yadas out there. So you explained that very well. So thank you. For all the ladies listening, listen to what she just said, because this is what matters. It's got to feel right to you. Don't listen to your husband.
My wife also carries a Smith & Wesson Shield.
Oh, good.
She has the first generation. It was my hand-me-down. But the Easy I really like, because the slide is just so easy to pull back. The trigger's phenomenal. The extra safety feature is awesome. So I think that's an excellent carry choice.
It is.
And I definitely should upgrade my wife soon. She is 9mm. It's not a 380. But
Are you going to go the Scott Bottoms route?
No. No thanks.
There's a story behind that. Scott Bottoms carries a pink gun.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But he's secure with it.
In his defense, he said that he bought one for his wife and she ended up not liking it. So he liked it, so he kept it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he carries, the rose gold Smith and not Smith Wesson, SIG P365.
We gave him a little bit of grief, but he was secure in it. And then the fun thing at the end, he's like, whatever, I got to carry it. And I said, well, actually, I think it's a tactical advantage, because when a dude pulls out a pink gun, the perpetrator is going to take an extra second to look at you and go, are you carrying a pink gun? And see, now you already have the advantage. You got the timing advantage.
Yeah.
So we had a good laugh over that.
Can I add on also about doing my training?
Please.
Of course.
So I also think it's important as a woman, when you're doing your training, is to go without your spouse.
Yeah.
When I did my concealed carry class,
Ladies, listen to this.
I opted to do the shooting portion as well, because I wanted to just go through the full class, understand what I was doing. But I went on my own without my husband, and it really helped me have my own sense of confidence, because he loves me. We've been together 30 years, but he's very protective. Like, I want you to be safe. I don't want you to do this, and don't want to hurt me or hurt anybody else, because firearms are dangerous if you're not doing it appropriately. But when I went and did my concealed carry class, being able to be by myself, it really helped me feel more confident, because I knew I had my instructor, who I know. He teaches classes at Triple J Armory. And it just allowed me to be in my own zone without that other element of somebody else giving you a little bit of anxiety, all in good intentions. But it just made me feel so much better to be able to be there, knowing I was in control. I had to work my own gun and get comfortable with it, but I still had the safety of my instructor behind me if I needed it.
I love everything you've said. I'm recording that, and that's going to be video number 2.
Okay.
I mean, you're saying all the things that actually, I'm being funny, but the truth of the matter is I open every class with this, and it's so. I thought you were signaling.
No, I was popping my knuckles. Sorry.
Oh, Kyle with his toes and you with your fingers. It really is important, and everything that you just said is crucial. And it's not because husbands are ill intent. I mean, I kind of painted the picture as bad, but the truth of the matter is about 80% of the time, when the guy and gal comes in, it's usually the husband dictating where things are going, and he's doing it with the best of intent.
Best of intentions,
but
yes.
it doesn't go very well. And my wife's a psychologist, so what she would say is like, if I was counseling the wife, but the husband's sitting over in the corner, and it's not a couples counseling session, and he's just staring at her, she's not going to feel very comfortable to let go and release and talk about all the things you want to talk about. And shooting a gun is very similar. You got to have, it's good to have somebody behind you who knows what they're doing, but you need to learn that on your own. So amen to you for doing that the right way.
Yeah, and then I'll just throw another piece if that's all right. I guess
Hey,
I'm just
just-
full of information
Hey,
today.
the daily carry is about what we carry. So
Perfect.
we don't have to talk politics if you don't want to at all today.
No, that's fine. I just think that I think there's a misconception about women carrying, people having firearms. I just had a conversation at Rotary yesterday with somebody who we were talking about it, and he's like, I'm against guns. We should be having all of these restrictions, and he came from Minnesota, so we'll just leave all that on the table as it is. But So on your training, the other thing is I have a really good friend who is a detective, and she told me to walk around my house with my gun and get comfortable, like alone, by the little blanks that you can shoot, and to especially as a woman again, but I think anybody, men as well, because when your adrenaline is high, if somebody is an intruder in your home, being able to be under stress and shoot your gun in the dark. And so those are some training things that I think are really valid for a woman and anybody, men as well, or if you're teaching your kids how to protect your home in that situation. But I thought that was great advice for a comfort level, because if you're holding your firearm, obviously it's a different weight, it's a different feel. You need to know not to keep your finger on the trigger when you're walking around with it. But I love that aspect, and I tell a lot of women about that too. So I'll take the clip out, and I'll just walk around my house.
Hold on, we're gonna edit
Yeah,
that out.
we got to edit that part.
Sorry,
Magazine.
Take the magazine.
magazine.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
magazine.
okay, because
Sorry.
if we were in Germany, clip would be appropriate.
Okay.
Take
that
you know,
out,
I'll do a
but-
shameless plug for Core Freedom Alliance or Core Freedom Tactical, my company, because I do a ton of private lesson in-home training for couples, specifically couples. How to move, how to triangulate, how to do that stuff, how to do it in the dark, how to find light switches, all that, how to breathe, how to up, rise, down, all of it. And so I'm glad that you do that. Your detective friend is very wise. And I got to say one more thing. The poor state of Minnesota is taking a beating right now. When I grew up as a little boy, Minnesota was always the number 2 state for me because I played hockey. Now, Michigan is number 1 for hockey, and Minnesota will tell you they're not. But if you just go back and look at I'm just saying, if you just go back and look at the gold medal that was won, every single player on the ice for the USA was from Michigan. Just want to clarify that, just right out of the gate. But Minnesota's taking a beating, and I love Minnesota because we used to play hockey there. I literally grew up over in Minnesota playing hockey, and now it's the whipping post for America because of Tim Walz and Somali stuff and all the junk. But I just wanted to throw a plug real quick. Minnesota, we still love you for your
We still
hockey.
love
Even though you're
Minnesota.
number 2, we
I
still
like-
love you.
I like Grand Marais.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important to learn how to hold your firearm,
And
walk
move.
around with it,
Yeah.
and move, and carry it, and get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Just like we do anything else.
Yes, ma'am.
It seems like there's a pattern. They're really going hard for blue states, and it's like they're following the hockey teams. Have you noticed this? I mean, we got Michigan, we got Minnesota, we got Colorado. They're really going after the hockey team states.
And yet
know?
the hockey stays resilient and the rest of the state falls apart. Hockey players are tough, man. Didn't you see Jack
They are.
Hughes? Lost his teeth, came out, scored the game-winning goal, smiled, and now he's a national icon
Yeah.
overnight. Michigan kid.
Well, what I'll say about the training piece is that whenever I've trained with my wife, the problem is that it's all just becomes a competition right away. Just
What are you saying, Jared? She's a strong, independent woman.
yes, she is. But whenever we've trained together, because we do like to train together, I would agree, Danielle. There's definitely a benefit to separate training because I find that we just probably don't take it as seriously whenever we're actually out together because it just turns into a competition. My wife's from Alaska, so she grew up hunting grizzly bears and
She could probably
moose and all
outshoot you,
kinds
can't
of stuff.
she? Be honest.
Absolutely not. I'll never admit to that. But we've done classes together. We've done some training. We've done a lot of shooting together, and it's always that competition, and we just like to have too much fun, you know.
Yeah.
So having that separate that division a little bit, just healthy level of it, to where you've got your separate training independent from your spouse, I think is really smart. And my wife, she knows she has the protocol at the home. Whenever I'm not there, she knows what to do. And if I am having to get up in the middle of the night and go do any type of clearing of the house, she knows what she's supposed to do whenever I'm not in the room. So she's she knows what to do independent from me, which I'm thankful for. But I would agree with your statement that it's important for there to be some independence there and not just always training with your spouse, because you want to let there be this growing ability that is not codependent on anybody else. You want to be able to manage and responsibly handle your firearm and yourself, whether it's at your house, whether it's outside, whatever it may be, to where you're confident in your
Right.
ability to carry and to operate that firearm. But I understand that you brought something else today, right?
I did.
Okay, I'm
yes.
excited for this.
Okay.
Eventually, we got to talk Senate race. So let's do both the same. Oh my.
Okay.
Okay.
So Let me see. Let me put my gun away really fast.
I was expecting one of three things, and that wasn't it.
What were you expecting?
Not that.
Not that. Okay.
You are the first guest to bring a full-blown fixed blade knife. I don't think there's been another single guest that's brought
I'm
up.
telling you right now, Peter Kohler is going to watch this episode, and he's like, I want to be on the episode next time.
So this is actually my son's.
Okay.
He inherited when my father-in-law passed away.
Okay.
There is a rumor, I don't know the true story because my father-in-law's passed away. Well, it's very thick leather. That this is a editioned Rambo knife. My father-in-law got probably around 40 years ago or so.
No kidding.
But we don't know the full story, so I don't want to give any true facts because I don't know the full story. But
That was Sly's knife on Rambo.
it is.
First
It
Blood.
does have a number 5 engraved on it. But
Wow.
That's actually pretty cool.
it's pretty dull right now. We were looking at it last night when we pulled it out of the safe, and I was like, "Ooh,
You
that's
got
really dull."
Micah. He's gonna have to go on eBay later.
But I did text
Wow.
my son last night, and we're like, just so you know, I'm going to borrow your knife because since he's away right now, we have most of his firearms and everything.
Well,
but-
they drew first blood.
so
let's not forget that.
Anyway,
That
that I
is
would
very cool.
bring that out and had to have the purse that you guys didn't even know was in my purse. So
No,
magic
we
of the
did not.
purse.
Concealed carry at its finest.
Anybody on the left or the right that doesn't vote for this young lady sitting next to us right now is misguided. That you have a mental health issue. She hasn't said anything so far. I've not come out. I want to applaud everything that you've said so far, from your training to your outlook to your faith to your kid in the Navy, all of it. I mean, it's like, man, where have I not seen you before? So we're gonna make the Senate race happen. I'm gonna get involved.
District 27.
I'm telling you.
27, yes.
Get
a
to the
rep on
polls.
county.
That's Scotty Parker's old number, and he's an enforcer. There's just so many good ties here to this
So
thing.
many good
I could just
ties.
keep going. Let's talk Senate race for a few
Okay,
minutes.
let's talk Senate. Should I
Why?
put my things away?
Oh, whatever you want to do. I mean, you
You
just
can
sit, you just
can-
sit there and hold it in
yeah,
the
You
air.
can just sit there with it in your hand.
I
the
am
whole time
perfectly
you're
okay.
talking.
Just like, listen, here's the deal, and we won't edit that out at all. What made you go? I mean, you have explained it. Like, I did this, and this race didn't go where I wanted it to. And actually, by the way, I think that was a blessing because Aurora. Hey, love you, Aurora, but you guys are a hot sticky mess over there. In the
are right
PD,
now.
my goodness, I think they've been through like 37 chiefs in the last 6 years, and I don't know how many city managers. They finally got a good chief of police over there.
We've got
They're rocking right now.
We've got a great city manager. We've got a fabulous fire chief, police chief.
Yeah, they're doing good
It's-
things, but they had to go through wash, rinse, repeat.
Did the
I
name
mean-
did the name change go through?
The what?
I thought they were going to change the name to Little Venezuela. I was like, no.
Apartment complex 101. No, they really. I'm glad you acknowledged that because I've got a lot of buddies in the TAC world and medics and all sorts of people that just left. They got fed up, and I'm going back a handful of years ago. So here's a real quick backstory. So Dan Oates, who was the chief during the movie massacre, Dan Oates and I. This is crazy. Ann Arbor, Michigan, 1992 ish. I think he was chief of police in Ann Arbor PD or assistant chief or something. He rolls up, going home, he rolls up on a head-on collision, bad one, really, really bad one. I'm the medic on scene. I get on scene. He's helping me as a cop, and you never really get that. Usually it's firefighters or other medics, but he's in it. He's in it to win it. And I shake his hand, appreciate you. I'd never see the guy again. I moved to Colorado, and I'm playing hockey one night, and I go into the boards, and I just crush this guy, just level him. And I feel bad, and because it's kind of a non-check league, and I reach down to pull him up, and I look at him and go, "You look familiar." And he's like, "Yeah, you do too." And then after the game, we collect. That was Chief Oates.
Oh wow.
That was Dan Oates. Yeah, he was on my crash scene in the mid '90s in Michigan. Became chief of police in Aurora, and then had to walk that horrific journey of
Right.
the Aurora movie theater massacre. But after that, it was just a train wreck of chiefs and city managers and stuff going in. So I'm glad to see they've recovered. But when you lost that race, what really drove you to the Senate side of things? Bigger dreams, bigger aspirations, or just easier problem solving, or what is it?
I think just being able to get in and make a change. I talk about that a lot. I even last year was in Belize at a women's conference with other women entrepreneurs, talking about one little change can make a difference. And so it's kind of simple, if you will, that I talk about, just making a positive impact in your community. And it starts small, whether it's volunteering, which I'm a huge, nonprofit. I have several foundations. So a lot of service orientation, but making that change. And it's evolved for me over the years as I've gotten older. My kids have gotten older. Life's changed, being business owners, and being able to get in and say, what can we do to change and make positive impact? How can we help our state? How can we really help people and make that difference? Whether it's the affordability, which we obviously see right now in our
it's
state,
huge.
is huge. Protecting our kids, protecting our rights, going back to good morals. Why have people lost morals? I don't understand. We've lost the sense of family, which obviously as a senator, you're not changing that, but it's something that you can see that decline.
But you can live the example.
Absolutely. You can live the example. And I think that's where it started to come about and evolve. And it's funny because now that I'm running, I have so many people that they're like, of course, we called this out years ago. You were going to do that. And I've even had past employees that have said that to me. So I guess it's sort of where God's just leading me, and I'm open to it.
So if you had a vision cast, what does it look like? Where does District 27 go when you're in charge?
Wow, that's a really big question.
Yeah, you're running for a really big position.
Yeah.
So, and we know that you got the backing. You got the
I
knife.
got the backing. I just see it being more. I don't want to just say that simplify it as saying like family friendly, but being back to a place where you feel safe, where you're maybe not going to feel strapped every single day going to the grocery store, where you feel like you can send your kids to school and they're getting good education. People are being honest. Again, kind of simplified a little bit on that.
But you apologized for the family part. I actually wouldn't have doubled down on that. My family used to love. My daughter is, she loved going to the Buell with my wife. We loved going downtown and watching plays or musicals. I couldn't tell you the last time that I broached the Denver city limits on purpose because there's no family value anymore. There's no, and look, I love doing things. I love going to a hockey game. I like doing that, but I don't like the fact that the family value system is lost and that you got to wade through all the crime to go do the thing that you want to do to pay outlandish prices on stuff that you don't feel safe in. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that answer at all. I think it's perfect.
Well, that's good. And I think the sense of family, my mother-in-law is a retired teacher, and she's talked about, and I totally respect and I can see it in the sense that we've lost our morals and our loss of family. And family can mean a lot. I, had a huge influence on my grandparents raising me with a single mom. And so, family can mean anything. There's people that are considered family. But the sense of sitting down and having a meal, one of the things that my family and I do, and my husband and I do it now that we're by ourselves, we just sit at the dinner table and we talk. And my kids come home and that's what we do. We have sat at our table till 2, 3 in the morning because conversation has gone that way. We call each other out. We joke, we laugh, we cry. It's kind of like the truth serum is around our dinner table in a way. And having that sense that you can talk about anything at our dinner table. And over the years, we've had a lot of other kids at our dinner table because that's something that I was brought up with. My grandparents didn't have very much money, and neither did my mom, but you're always welcome at our house for a meal. If you need something, you can have it. And so it's just surprised me, well, not anymore, but when I first started having these teenagers come over and they would be like, you guys do this every night? You talk, you talk? And we're like, yeah, this is our family. Like, sometimes it's takeout, sometimes it's a full-blown cooked meal, and sometimes it's in a restaurant. It just depends. But yeah, we sit down together as a family and we talk and we have a meal together. And I think that's where we're losing that sense of family, and kids are craving that.
Yeah.
And go back to my mother-in-law, but she talks about that with the sense of families being gone and the rise in gangs. And we've had gangs for a long time. It's not like it just came out, but if you think about the basis of that, it's a family. It's a sense of belonging. It's on a criminal side, but you have a father figure or an authority figure.
Sure.
You have your gatherings, you have your family time. Just depends what you're looking at. So how can we reflect that back into a wholesome, spiritual sense of let's do good
Right.
versus the bad side of it. But I don't know how you fix that because that's really coming back to that household.
Yeah.
I think it's just getting in office, and a lot of it is being yourself and doing the work that nobody else is doing. Holding true to your values and not letting the system that's so full of so much pollution and corruption affect you, which we need spiritually strong people to be able to get into our state capitol, get into this fight for Colorado, that are going to be able to stay true to their values, stay true to a moral compass. And that I'm convinced that's only going to come about by spiritual people. It's only going to come about by people who are actually standing on something. I love the saying, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. And I think that that's true here. And whenever you're talking about just having discussions with your family around the table and talking about the desire for more people to have that, I think that's a very important conversation right now, more than ever. I mean, we've got so many people that are just lost in their screens, and they don't have a lot of communication with the world, let alone their families, So I think that that's an important conversation to just kind of get back to the roots, because I think communication and being able to talk to each other is going to solve a lot of problems. We've continued to bring up how majority of people who come on the show, they say the biggest problems Colorado's facing: crime, cost of living, but we've continued to volley and push it toward mental health. But the truth is that mental health, I think, is really a guise for spiritual warfare. It's something that we're more comfortable with. We're more comfortable calling something mental health than we would be calling it somebody's wrestling with demons. But the truth is that there's a spiritual battle going on for everyone, and whether they engage in it on effective terms or not is up to them individually. But mental health and the spiritual warfare, a lot of it can be won by simply beginning to have this conversation, beginning to talk with people, beginning to love on people. Because the State of the Union, we talked about in the beginning, we'll go back to that for a second, just because whenever we see Trump announcing different things and getting people to stand up, some people sitting down, some people standing up, what was very frustrating to me is to see the whole room stand up for a hockey team. They can agree on that, but they can't stand up for the mother of someone who was brutally murdered. They can't stand up for we shouldn't be mutilating children. They can't stand up for issues like that should be so bipartisan, but they'll stand up for a hockey team. I mean, I get there's a lot of people out there that are bipartisan whenever it comes to hockey, but we should be just as bipartisan whenever it comes to supporting a mother that's suffering tragic loss, whenever it comes to protecting our kids from being mutilated before they're 18 and should be able to make any decision like that. And I just keep going back to, should we be posturing in a way like Donald Trump is and just calling these people crazy? I get it. Is it lunacy? Is it madness? Yeah. But that's also not going to be received and affect any positive change. What these people need is they need somebody to love them and talk them through this stuff. Explain to them, just like you're talking about these conversations at the dinner table. That's a lot of what I feel like we've lost in this country, what we've lost in this state, is the ability to sit down and just effectively communicate with each other. Because if we could do that, I think that we could work through a lot of these issues that we're facing, a lot of the mental health, a lot of the trans issues, a lot of what we know is spiritual warfare. The way that we're going to be able to be effective in changing these things is by sitting down and being able to have a conversation with people. So I love that that's what you went to, and that was the natural response whenever it's like, what does District 27 look like? Yeah. Well, hopefully it looks like you're able to get in there and allow there to be a restoration and effective communication. I think that that's what I heard, everything you just said.
Yeah, I would agree. And building relationships. So right now, our representative just is one issue. He doesn't care. I think it was last year, he said like all his constituents are trash and doesn't care what they have to say. And he's just out for, his own agenda. And I, as a senator, don't want to do that. I want to be that voice, volunteering, working with nonprofits, it's always about bringing the voice for someone who can't maybe speak for themselves,
Yeah.
and building those relationships as we go forward, and speak for people for what they need, what they want, and having common sense.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's huge.
Common
I
sense.
think your opponent is wounded.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think he's wounded. I think his heart is hurt and broke in many ways, and
Absolutely.
he's lashing out. And people do it, in different ways. But
Right.
I certainly don't defend some of the claims that he's made. And I certainly am not on board with them. But again, I said it before, Tom, my heart breaks for you. But at the end of the day, you got to think of everybody. It's not just about you.
Right. And sometimes it's okay to take a step back and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And not take it out, like you said, lashing out on everybody. And go take a retreat and help your own mental health.
Get a sabbatical.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a massive gubernatorial race going on right now, as I'm sure you're aware of.
Yes.
I'm curious to know if you have anyone in particular that you're liking more than others. There's like
912, I think.
over 20 candidates
Yeah.
on the Republican side of the
excuse me.
ticket. Some of them have shifted to the independent side, which I'm a little disappointed in. But I get it. Everybody's got to try to run the race for themselves. But, we have seen that independent doesn't ever work out for anybody. It's just something that never really moves the needle at all. But we've got some strong candidates, I think, and I'm curious to see just what you think so far of the race in the primary.
I would agree we have a few strong candidates. And until we kind of get through primaries, I'm just kind of watching a few.
Wise answer. Yeah.
That was a very tactical answer. In your world, going into it, are you going to work hand in hand with the party? In other words, we've got infighting. We talk about this on every episode. DC politics here in Douglas County. Oh my gosh, these people would eat each other. I'm looking at the gubernatorial race. You're in a Senate race, but do you believe that the party should get behind somebody as opposed to infighting?
Yes, we definitely need to. We need to be united front as a Republican Party for sure.
And how do you do that?
I wish I always think this, like, I wish I had the answer, $1 million question, right? I think it's putting maybe some of our emotional piece to it, because it seems like if you really look at it, we're all kind of on the same page. It's the piece of the emotions that are coming out. And if we can maybe just put that to the side for a minute and just look at where do we want to go as a state and as a party, and just work towards that.
Right.
I mean, it's not necessarily I guess it's sort of a compromise, but I mean, I think of it almost like a marriage. You're not going to always agree with your spouse. You may have a dispute, but you're
That's not true.
Jared agrees with everything Sarah says. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How long you been married? No, I'm just kidding.
Just at our 6-year anniversary.
literally.
We are
Amazing.
babies.
Just last week.
Yeah, so we're in the 30-year boat.
I'll be 32 this year.
Yeah. But I
I'm
think
proud of what I've learned, though. I've learned that the easiest way to stay married happily is to learn the very important words.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
Oh.
That
Yeah.
solves
Is that what does
everything.
it? Does that happen in your
It
house?
solves everything.
It depends. I actually do say that sometimes too to my husband.
No way. I need you to hang out with my wife a little bit.
But you have to have the other side. You have to know what makes her happy sometimes too. So
Good advice.
he'll go hang out and let me try shoes on some days when that's what I need as an
There
outlet.
you go.
But
Good for you.
but back to what we were just talking about with the compromise, but it's also typically you're not airing your dirty laundry outside of your home.
Mm-hmm.
And why are we not doing that as a political party?
Sure.
Let's get in a room together. Let's have some debate. Let's put it all out there. But when we are coming out into the public, we need to be on that united front. We need to all be going towards the same goal.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I think that you actually did a really good job of an example of how do we unite the party. Well, whenever I asked you, you didn't just say, this person's an idiot, this person's credible, this person's incredible, this person is who we should be voting for. You just said, we're going to see. I think that's a very diplomatic approach. And I think that diplomacy is definitely missing in not only Colorado politics, but in geopolitics. There is just such a lack of diplomacy, which is very disappointing. I think that there should be some outliers, at least to be able to step up to the plate and just be able to lay down arms and realize, okay, we're not all enemies here.
Right.
We're trying to fight for the same Colorado. We're trying to fight for the same country. We're trying to fight to put ourselves on a course correction here. So maybe we shouldn't be as cutthroat as we're being. But I think that the political mold is just that way, and it has been for so long, and it's been escalating that way to where it's just, if you're not voting for me, you are an enemy. Whether you're on the same party or whether you're on the other party, it doesn't matter. Everybody seems to be jumping on the bandwagon and just having to tear each other down to try to lift themselves up. And I can't stand that. That's exhausting to me. And it honestly feels like it's the worst way possible to actually be effective in changing Colorado for the better. So I think that your answer, as soon as I asked what are your thoughts on the gubernatorial race, I think that diplomatic approach is already kind of answering your question a little bit.
Well, and the truth of the matter is you will see. I mean, like the whole point of sitting back and kind of watching this thing play out, it's very, very important. You get to evaluate, you get to hear what people are saying and doing. If you're making everything off of one decision or one statement or one, I did this, look at me, pat myself on the back, I'm all in on that person. As I said on the show the other night, I got a buddy of mine that would carry Trump across a desert with no water. He's so into Trump. And I'm like, well, I think there's a time and a place for Donald Trump, but I'm not with you on that. And he looks at me like, what? And he gets all, and I'm like, dude, like, first of all, bring it down a level and let's just talk reality. So I do appreciate your answer. I do think we need to evaluate. And it is important because we're going to have different people, different tactics, different thought processes. I was a SWAT team leader and I had other guys underneath me as far as title went. We never went into an op unless we were 100% on agreement and we had trained to it.
Right.
And sooner, it just means you got to compromise. You got to figure out what's the best thing that's going to work for everybody. Because if we all 12 of us get in a stack and go in different directions, we're going to be in trouble pretty quick. So thank you for your answer on that.
We're running on time here. Where can people find you, support you, learn more information about your race? What's the best place for people to reach out to be able to connect with your campaign?
My website is danielle4sd27.com, and I'm on Facebook, Instagram, X. So you can email me, you can call me. It's all on my website if anybody wants to talk to me in person or have me come and talk to their group. Really right now it's about just making those connections and building those relationships.
Awesome. It's been an incredible conversation. We end every single episode with prayer. If you'd like, me or Micah can say the prayer, but if you'd be willing, then you can say the prayer in conclusion today.
I would be totally happy if one of you wanted to say the prayer.
Yeah. It's on me today.
It's on you today.
It's on me today. I real quick before I pray, I just want to say thank you for coming on. All of your answers so far have been very authentic, and it's meant something. I think the way you've postured yourself and position and the things you said, and I know it's flown by because we've been having a lot of fun and talking a lot of stuff, but this is what people I believe genuinely need to see. We can sit down and talk about politics all day long, but they get to see you, which means that's going to be you that goes into office. And that, I think that's really, really tantamount for people to understand. Because we get people every once in a while that'll come on and you can just tell that's not that. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. This has been actually really nice and I guess easy to talk to you guys. So I appreciate that as well.
Is this your first podcast?
No, it's not my first podcast. I've been on a few now, but
this is the
my
best
first
one, right?
This has been great in person. Actually, it's really
the
nice
best.
and really
I heard
you guys
best.
are the best.
Thank
you guys are the
you.
best. No, it's actually been really nice to just kind of sit back and have that conversation.
Yeah.
Where it's true and authentic, and I guess that is who I am. Sometimes to a fault. If you ask my children. So
I bet
I'm
they
that mom
I
who calls them out.
I bet they love their mama.
They love their mama.
They love their mama.
I'm a Capricorn, and so there's always that like element of like honest to a fault.
Yeah.
And I'll call you out even though I love you.
Yeah. Good on you. Good for being a mom. All right. I'll close this out.
Okay.
Father God, thank you for this opportunity to be together. Danielle, wish her not only best of luck, but Godspeed to her and everything that she's doing. May her heart just stay focused on you, tried and true to her constituency, and just always purvey the truth and show family values. Ask that you'd watch over her in her travels. Keep her safe during this run for this very important office to represent Colorado in a much needed way. It's in your son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
out. It's been a pleasure having a conversation with you. The last thing, if you don't mind, is just sign our wall here before you leave.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you.
I carry a gun 'cause this world's gone cold. A knife for the path when the stories unfold. But the one that leads me, come fire or trial, is the word in my hand with a leather-bound smile. It's the life that I live, not just something I say. That's a daily carry I bring every day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
What a pleasure.